Have you ever wondered why some women start to feel distant from their husbands as they age? Is it because of love lost, or is there something much more practical behind it? It's a question many couples face as the years go by, and it's not just about emotions or big life changes. There are real, everyday reasons that often go unnoticed. As we age, our priorities, health, and needs shift, and so can our relationships. In today's video, we're going to dive into the practical, down-to-earth reasons why this happens and how these small but significant changes can create a distance in long-term marriages. Stay tuned as we uncover the 7 key factors that explain this shift and what you can do about it. 1. Changes in health and energy levels. As women age, their health and energy levels naturally fluctuate, and this can significantly affect the dynamic of their relationships. It's not just about getting older. It's about the way aging impacts physical vitality, stamina, and overall well-being. Women may experience a decline in energy due to hormonal changes, menopause, or other age-related conditions. As a result, they might find themselves less able to keep up with the demands of daily life or engage in the same activities they once enjoyed. This shift can lead to frustration, especially when their husbands may not fully understand the extent of the physical changes. For many women, the energy drain isn't just about feeling tired at the end of the day. It can also involve chronic health issues, joint pain, or fluctuating moods due to hormonal imbalances. When these things become a regular part of daily life, it can be hard to maintain the same level of engagement in the relationship. A woman might feel frustrated with herself for not being as energetic or physically active as she used to be. When her husband doesn't seem to acknowledge or empathize with her struggles, it can create emotional distance between them. An example of this disconnect often arises when women are still expected to manage the household, care for the family, or maintain a busy schedule while dealing with fatigue. For instance, a woman in her 50s or 60s might be dealing with the effects of menopause, causing her to feel physically drained. She may struggle with sleepless nights, hot flashes, or joint discomfort. At the same time, her husband may not recognize how these changes are affecting her. If he continues to expect her to keep up with previous levels of activity without offering support or understanding, this can lead to feelings of resentment and emotional distance. The lack of understanding can also lead to feelings of being unheard or unappreciated. Women often take on the role of caregivers or household managers, but when their own health becomes a concern, they might feel as though they're carrying more than their fair share of the load. When their partner doesn't acknowledge how physically demanding it has become to balance everything, the woman may begin to feel like her needs are overlooked. This can cause frustration and even a sense of alienation as she feels her partner doesn't truly see or understand the toll aging is taking on her body. Ultimately, these changes in health and energy levels are part of life. But the key to maintaining a strong bond through them is communication and empathy. Women need to feel that their husbands are not only aware of their physical limitations, but are also actively involved in finding ways to ease the burden. When couples work together to adjust their routines and expectations, it can help preserve the connection and foster mutual understanding. 2. Shift in priorities and interests. As women age, it's natural for their priorities and interests to shift. After years of focusing on family, work, and responsibilities, many women begin to seek more time for personal growth and self-care. This change can lead to a growing divide between them and their husbands, especially if the husband doesn't recognize or appreciate these shifts. As women grow older, they often become more focused on their health, well-being, and nurturing their own passions. This is a time when they might start to explore new hobbies, take up fitness routines, or even delve into personal development in ways that they hadn't before. This shift in priorities can be a source of frustration for both partners. For example, a woman might begin dedicating more time to yoga, meditation, or reading as she seeks to enrich her life and improve her mental and physical health. She might prioritize activities that allow her to connect with herself, like journaling or attending wellness retreats. Meanwhile, her husband may still be caught up in his old routines, whether it's watching television in the evening or engaging in activities that no longer feel meaningful to her. This disparity in interests can lead to feelings of distance and frustration, especially if the husband doesn't understand or support her desire to grow in these new directions. For some women, this shift can also mean distancing themselves from the traditional role of caregiver or family manager. As they focus more on their own well-being, they may feel a need for more independence or personal time. However, if their husband continues to rely on them for the same level of emotional or domestic support as before, the woman may start to feel burdened or overwhelmed. The mismatch in expectations can create tension in the relationship, as the woman begins to prioritize her own needs, which might not align with her husband's more familiar routines. An example of this dynamic is when a woman becomes deeply invested in self-care, such as adopting a healthier diet, exercising regularly, or pursuing creative outlets. She may also start to prioritize socializing with friends or attending events that align with her new interests. On the other hand, her husband might not have the same enthusiasm for these activities and could continue sticking to his old ways, whether that's sitting at home, sticking to a set routine, or engaging in hobbies that feel increasingly disconnected from what his wife values now. This difference can cause the woman to feel that her husband is holding her back from fully embracing her new passions. The important thing to remember is that this shift in priorities doesn't mean the love or connection has faded. It's simply that the woman is entering a new chapter of life where her needs and desires have evolved. The key to navigating this change is for both partners to recognize and support each other's growth. It's vital for women to express their new interests to their husbands, and for men to show understanding and respect for their partner's personal journey. When both partners can embrace change and encourage each other's individual growth, the relationship can continue to thrive, even in the face of evolving interests. 3. Emotional disconnect from growing apart. As time goes on, many couples begin to experience an emotional disconnect, especially as they become consumed by other responsibilities like family, work, and personal health. In the early stages of a relationship, there's often an intense emotional bond, with both partners sharing dreams, concerns, and experiences. However, as the years pass, life tends to get in the way. Raising children, managing careers, and maintaining a household can take up the majority of a couple's attention. Over time, this shift can lead to one or both partners feeling emotionally neglected or distanced from one another, even though they may still live under the same roof. For women, the emotional disconnect can become particularly noticeable as they age. Many women spend a significant portion of their lives focused on caring for others, whether it's raising children, supporting their partners, or handling daily responsibilities. As they move into their later years, women often begin to reflect more on their own emotional needs. They may find themselves yearning for deeper conversations, emotional intimacy, and connection. However, if their husbands remain focused on their own routines or fail to notice this shift, the woman might begin to feel overlooked or even isolated in her relationship. An example of this is when a woman's emotional needs are simply no longer being met in the way they once were. In the early years of a marriage, there might have been more affectionate gestures, meaningful conversations, or shared experiences. As the couple ages, these moments can become fewer and farther between. If the husband doesn't recognize the importance of these emotional exchanges, or doesn't realize that his wife craves more meaningful connection, it can lead to a growing gap. The wife might start feeling as though her emotional needs are neglected, which can create a sense of loneliness within the relationship. The emotional disconnect can also stem from a lack of communication. As people get older, they may develop a routine where conversations become more transactional, focused on logistics, finances, or other day-to-day concerns. While these conversations are necessary, they don't foster emotional closeness. A woman might begin to feel like her husband is no longer interested in discussing her dreams, worries, or experiences. This lack of emotional engagement can lead to frustration, as she feels that her emotional world is no longer valued or understood. When she's not able to express herself fully or feel heard, the emotional bond between them weakens. The good news is that emotional reconnection is possible, even after years of drifting apart. It requires both partners to recognize the changes in their emotional needs and take active steps to address them. For women, it can be helpful to express openly how they feel, whether it's a need for more affection, more meaningful conversation, or more quality time. Husbands, on the other hand, need to be receptive and willing to adjust their own behavior to nurture the emotional bond. When both partners make an effort to prioritize emotional intimacy, they can restore and even strengthen their connection, ensuring that the emotional distance doesn't become permanent. 4. Perception of unmet expectations. As time passes in a relationship, one of the most common reasons for women to feel disillusioned with their husbands is the perception that their expectations for emotional support or partnership are not being met. In the early stages of a relationship, both partners often go out of their way to meet each other's needs, sharing hopes, dreams, and challenges. However, as time goes on, especially in long-term marriages, these expectations can evolve. Women in particular may begin to feel that their emotional needs are being overlooked, or that their partners no longer understand the depth of their desire for connection and support. One of the primary expectations that women may feel is unmet is the need for meaningful conversation. In the early years of marriage, couples often engage in deep, personal conversations, sharing everything from daily experiences to their innermost thoughts and concerns. However, as life gets busier and responsibilities pile up, these meaningful exchanges tend to fade. If the husband becomes more focused on work, hobbies, or even the routine aspects of life, the wife might feel neglected emotionally. She may long for those intimate conversations that once helped her feel connected, but when they don't occur, the feeling of emotional emptiness can grow. An example of unmet expectations can be seen when a woman feels the absence of emotional sharing from her husband. She might want him to open up about his day, his feelings, or his concerns, but over time, the husband may become less communicative. If he no longer shares his thoughts or is dismissive of her emotional needs, she can feel isolated. This lack of emotional reciprocation can lead her to believe that her needs for intimacy, understanding, and closeness are being disregarded, which creates a growing sense of dissatisfaction in the relationship. Another aspect of unmet expectations is the desire for shared partnership in decision-making and emotional support. As couples age, responsibilities may shift, but the need for mutual support remains. For many women, aging brings increased concerns about health, family, and long-term goals. If a woman feels she is shouldering most of the emotional weight in these matters without her husband's active involvement or support, it can lead to resentment. She may begin to perceive that the partnership has become one-sided, with her expectations for her husband to be a more engaged emotional partner left unmet. The perception of unmet expectations doesn't always arise from a lack of love or effort. Often, it's due to the passage of time and the changing dynamics in the relationship. It's easy for one partner to become complacent, assuming that their spouse knows how they feel or that their needs will be automatically met without explicitly voicing them. The key to addressing these unmet expectations is communication. For a woman, expressing her desire for more emotional support, deeper conversations, or more shared involvement in daily life is crucial. Likewise, the husband needs to listen actively, acknowledge her feelings, and be willing to make changes to meet those evolving needs. With open communication, many couples can adjust their expectations and find new ways to reconnect emotionally. 5. The burden of domestic responsibilities. As time passes in many long-term relationships, a shift often occurs in the division of household duties. Over the years, women may find themselves taking on a larger share of domestic responsibilities, from cooking and cleaning to managing household schedules and caring for family members. This shift can be especially frustrating as women age and their physical and emotional energy levels change. With increasing responsibilities, they may begin to feel overwhelmed and resentful, particularly if their husbands remain disengaged from household chores. The lack of a fair partnership in this area can significantly strain the relationship. The emotional labor associated with managing a household can be particularly taxing. This includes not only the physical tasks, but also the mental and emotional effort that goes into planning, organizing, and ensuring that everything runs smoothly. Women often take on the role of the manager of the home, keeping track of appointments, social obligations, and the emotional well-being of family members. Over time, this emotional labor can become overwhelming, especially if there is little help or acknowledgement from the husband. As the wife shoulders this burden, she may begin to feel unappreciated, which can lead to frustration and, eventually, resentment. An example of this dynamic is when a woman feels responsible for every aspect of domestic life, from grocery shopping to managing the children's activities, all while trying to maintain her own self-care routines. If her husband does little to assist in these tasks or fails to recognize the mental and physical toll of this constant juggling act, the woman may begin to feel exhausted and taken for granted. She may start to wonder why she is the only one putting in the effort to maintain the household, and this can lead to feelings of emotional disconnect. When the husband doesn't step up, it creates a sense of inequity that can fester over time. In many cases, the frustration arises not only from the imbalance of responsibilities, but from a lack of communication about expectations. If the husband does not recognize the increasing burden his wife is carrying, or if he doesn't actively ask how he can help, the wife may begin to feel that her needs are ignored. She might silently carry the weight of these responsibilities without speaking up, assuming her husband should just know that she needs help. However, when the help doesn't come, the emotional strain can create distance between them, leading to a breakdown in the relationship. Addressing the burden of domestic responsibilities requires open and honest communication. The wife should express her feelings of being overwhelmed and ask for more help. Whether it's with chores, emotional support, or simply sharing the mental load of managing the household, the husband, on the other hand, needs to listen actively, acknowledge her struggles, and take on more responsibility in a way that feels equitable. It's essential for both partners to recognize that as they age, their responsibilities and needs change, and their partnership must evolve to meet those challenges together. With mutual understanding and shared effort, couples can avoid the resentment that arises from an unequal division of labor. 6. Growing differences in social circles. As people age, their social circles often evolve, and for many women, this shift can become a source of tension in their relationships. Early in a marriage, couples typically share a wide range of friends and social activities. Over time, however, women may find that their interests and social circles change as they pursue new hobbies, careers, or even personal growth. At the same time, their husbands may maintain long-standing friendships that no longer resonate with their wives' lives. This divergence can create a rift in the relationship, as women begin to feel more isolated or disconnected from their husband's social world. For many women, friendships become more focused on shared experiences and deeper emotional connections, especially as they age. They may seek out friends who align with their personal interests, such as wellness, spirituality, or creative pursuits. Meanwhile, their husband's friends might continue to revolve around past interests, like sports, work, or other activities that no longer hold the same appeal for the wife. When a woman feels disconnected from her husband's friends, or feels that she has little in common with them, it can lead to feelings of alienation and loneliness within the relationship. She may start to feel like an outsider in her own social life, which only exacerbates the emotional distance between them. An example of this situation might involve the husband's social circle, which could consist of friends who have shared experiences with him, whether from work, college, or long-standing hobbies. These friends might not have much in common with his wife, especially if they don't share the same interests or life stages. As a result, when the wife attends social gatherings with her husband's friends, she may feel out of place or like a third wheel. This dynamic can lead to frustration, as she feels excluded or overlooked in these social situations. The lack of genuine connection with her husband's circle can further isolate her, reinforcing the emotional divide between them. Over time, this social disconnect can create a sense of resentment. The wife may begin to feel that her husband is too focused on his own social life and doesn't understand the importance of her social needs. If the husband continues to spend time with friends who don't relate to her, while not making an effort to nurture her own friendships or engage with her on social matters, it can deepen the emotional divide. The woman might start to feel that her needs for companionship and shared experiences are being neglected, which can contribute to feelings of isolation within the relationship. The key to navigating growing differences in social circles is mutual support and understanding. Couples should recognize that their individual social lives are important, but it's equally important to foster connection within the marriage. Husbands can make an effort to understand and appreciate their wives' new interests and friendships, while wives can take the time to engage with their husband's social circle in a way that feels comfortable. By acknowledging and respecting each other's evolving social needs, couples can find ways to stay connected while allowing for personal growth. With open communication and a willingness to adapt, they can prevent the widening of the social gap and continue to support one another's emotional well-being. 7. Changing expectations of the relationship. As relationships mature, so too do the expectations that each partner has for the other. Over time, women may begin to desire a more equal and fulfilling partnership, one where both emotional and practical needs are met in a balanced way. In the early years of marriage, couples often rely on a sense of mutual excitement and shared goals. But as they age, the dynamics can shift. Women may yearn for deeper intimacy, more shared experiences, and a stronger sense of partnership. However, if their husbands are not on the same page or fail to recognize these changing desires, disappointment and frustration can set in. One of the most common shifts in expectations for women is a desire for more emotional and physical intimacy. After years of marriage, many women find that their relationship has become more routine, with the intimacy once shared dwindling. Women may long for those moments of connection that once made them feel cherished and understood, such as spontaneous gestures of affection or long heart-to-heart conversations. However, if their husbands are focused on other aspects of life like work or personal interests, they may overlook or dismiss their wives' need for renewed closeness. This lack of attention to intimacy can leave women feeling neglected, and the emotional distance that follows can cause strain in the relationship. Another area where changing expectations often arise is in the desire for shared experiences. After many years of marriage, couples may begin to feel like they are merely coexisting rather than truly living life together. Women, in particular, may begin to feel that they have done their part in maintaining the family and household, and now they want to focus on enjoying life with their partner. This could mean traveling together, taking on new hobbies, or simply spending more quality time in each other's company. When these expectations aren't met and the husband remains indifferent or focused on his own pursuits, it can lead to feelings of isolation and dissatisfaction. Women may feel as though they are left out of the journey, unable to share the experiences they hoped would strengthen their bond. As these unmet expectations build, resentment can begin to take root. Women may start to feel that their husbands are no longer willing to invest in the relationship in the same way they are. They might think that after years of dedication to family and the relationship, it's time for both partners to engage more fully in nurturing the connection. However, when this desire for growth and partnership isn't reciprocated, it can lead to feelings of rejection and emotional withdrawal. The wife may become frustrated with what feels like a one-sided effort, and this can erode the emotional intimacy they once shared. To avoid this growing gap, communication is essential. Women should express their changing expectations openly and clearly, explaining their desire for more intimacy, shared experiences, and a stronger partnership. Husbands, in turn, need to listen actively and be willing to make adjustments in their behavior and priorities. By acknowledging that both partners have evolving needs as they age, couples can work together to meet those expectations and rediscover the joy and connection that once defined their relationship. The key is not just recognizing the changes, but also making a conscious effort to address them, ensuring that both partners feel fulfilled and valued in the long run. Conclusion. So, as we've explored today, there are many practical reasons why women may start to feel distant from their husbands as they age. From changes in health and energy levels to evolving expectations of the relationship, it's important for both partners to recognize these shifts and actively work together to maintain a fulfilling and balanced partnership. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, be sure to leave a comment below. Let me know if you agree or if you've experienced any of these changes. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful videos. And if you're still watching, comment 90 Oru to let me know you're part of our community. Take care, and see you next time.